Welcome back to the show, everybody. We got a good one for you today. I got a real good question I want to ask each and every one of you out here. And that question is, what's making the price of XRP go up right now? Let's roll that intro and get into this.
This is Digital Perspectives with Brad Kimes. Subscribe for new content notifications. Now, here's Brad Kimes. Come on in.
Welcome back to the show, everybody. You can follow me on Twitter at BackupBradleyAbove at the top of the screen, and everything that we're talking about here today. Right now, we just pulled back off of 45 cents, and we are at 0.4442, 44 cents right now, up 3.81% right now on the price. And if we look at the 7-day on this, we are at least up 57.8%. 57.8%. That is not bad with everything hanging over XRP's head at this point, right? So we will keep an eye on that as we move forward. Let's go ahead and get into this. The one thing I wanted to start with is that I had somebody send me this article, and I can't remember who it is just now, but I want to thank them for sending me the Liberty Bond article. You know who you are. But it was this picture right here that got me, and we're going to get to that in just a second. But I wanted to show this because you guys know I've been talking about the idea that XRP could potentially get a security designation. And no, I do not mean the kind of designation that would entitle you to ownership of Ripple. That's not what I'm talking about. But the potential for it to get a settlement of a security designation, because largely securities laws is what banks operate in, clearinghouses operate in, and things of that nature. And if that framework has been firmly in place for decades, it may suit those sophisticated financial institutions to have XRP to be, or for XRP to be used. It may be more suitable for them to have it fall under some other type of security, like a bearer bond, electronic version of a bond or bearer bond. So what I wanted to just touch on really briefly here, and then I want to get into the question I asked in the opener, which is what is moving price? And I think it's a really great question, and I really am sincerely interested in what you guys say. I don't get to read the comments of the videos very often these days, but I will be reading the comments in this one. Now, before we get there, I just want to remind everybody that, you know, the Liberty Bond that came out, and it was back around 1913, right, during the World War, and they issued this. There was the pandemic of 1918 back then as well. This is an actual picture of that time. And you could see the protective wear everybody has on, or the policeman has on here. You can see stop, buy Liberty Bonds, lend, right? So it breaks that time period down, that pandemic, that time of that pandemic down, and the one of current day into three different levels: physical, financial, and political. I'm not going to spend a lot of time on this. I just want to touch on this because I do believe that, you know, for one, whether XRP becomes a bond or not, or a security designation that would put it in that classification or not, is really not the real only point, although that is something I think collectively as a group we should consider. But I do believe ultimately we're going to need to see an electronic digital bond market created on distributed ledger technology, blockchain, and that is going to obviously expedite the process, makes it smoother, easier, faster, safer, and all of that business, and you don't get into any issues of double spend or what have you. So moving down through this just very quickly, I just wanted to skip, and then, by the way, this whole article is on my Twitter, and it's a great article, so you should check it out. Let's see, I wanted to get to here before we move to the next piece, and that piece is during World War I, the United States was faced with great challenges of how to pay for escalating cost of war at the time. They created the Liberty Bond, which transformed the way that money was done. the Liberty Bond citizens loaned money to the government to finance the war. This was before the days of $750 billion national defense budgets, obviously. And they were in a few different flavors of the offering of those bonds were corporate bonds, individual bonds, and even collectible stamps for the poor. So you see how they approached it then. What is interesting is let me see, I think I actually had this highlighted down here. And this is actually just an animated diagram of how people would participate in a blockchain project that was a bond, right? Just like an initial coin offering is very similar to understanding that as well. Even though an initial coin offering is a direct security of the company, the bond could be an issuance to something else. You could make it to something else. For instance, I believe XRP, because you can make a great argument for it being a bond of the XRP ledger and all the collateralized value that is on it. It'd almost be like an ETF actually at that point. Anyway, moving on here, just showing here, you see the little trifecta they have here, the political, the physical, and the financial with the land. So you see that little setup there. Here is a gentleman from Bond Eye Project telling you a collaboration between, yes, the World Bank and Australia's commercial bank has issued 2 successful bond offerings run entirely on blockchain. I'm not going to play that video, but you see the level that this is actually taking place on. So this, to a degree, this is not just a YouTuber saying something like this could happen. To a degree, this is already being done. To go even further, ARCA, which is building off of the Ethereum network, is already licensed, security licensed, to issue treasury bills from the U.S. So it is not the first time that we're seeing this happen. So the question is how deeply will it go? And I thought I had another section here highlighted. I do. Here it is. So it said, and just to note, and my point of this is, will we see a blockchain distributed ledger technology bond offering, or will we see XRP get as a separate thought, will we see XRP get a security bearer bond style stability coin, utility coin designation that allows it to function that way, which would make it jurisdictionless with the utility of a convertible virtual currency? It's something to really consider. The first Liberty bond issued during that time of the First World War was actually unsuccessful. And they really came out as a hard sell, and it didn't work very well. It fell flat. And it wasn't until the U.S. government got their propaganda machine churning out millions of posters, window stickers, buttons, and public really got on board. And you can even see a picture here where they enlisted celebrities to headline bond rallies, like the great movie star Douglas Fairbanks speaking here in this picture at the Treasury building. So, look, history doesn't always repeat itself, but it certainly rhymes. It wouldn't surprise me if at some point we saw some kind of new bond introduced. And to that point, we just saw that Judy Shelton had her nomination to the Fed withdrawn. But what did she want to do? She wanted, if given the chance, to be able to introduce a new gold bond backing the monetary system. That's what she wanted to do. So there is a flash that didn't get to happen, but that doesn't mean that it's not over. It means that we should pay attention for someone they choose to pick instead of going with a nominee from a previous administration. We may see someone come in with the same similar like mindset to want to introduce something like that, but be chosen from the current administration. Don't rule it out just yet. You know, the other thing here is that we have to be reminded of green bonds that are launched and dealt with by the BIS, which is the central bank of central banks. Now, I'm just talking about bonds broadly here, okay? Just understand that, and that we should be aware that they're doing this. And they see the Bank of International Settlements has launched a euro-denominated open-ended fund or green bond investments by central banks and official institutions. The launch follows successful introduction of the first BIS green bond fund denominated in U.S. dollars in September 2019. Okay, it says together 2 BIS green bond funds will manage some $2 billion in green bonds for central banks with the expectation that the funds will continue to grow considerably. Then I got thinking to myself, I was like, this green bond is all about really green energy and going, lowering your carbon footprint and the whole business, right? So then I thought, well, who's trying to do that? Well, I'll tell you who's trying to do that. It's the XRP Ledger blockchain energizes decarbonization, but the tokenization a challenge. And it goes through and talks here about how, they are working and committed to being carbon net zero by 2030. In order to meet this goal, Ripple has unveiled a set of initiatives driven largely by blockchain technology. And then it goes on to say everything else that goes with it. And it talks, interestingly enough, about this. Let me just give you this reading right here. So it says, it talks about let me start here. Ken Weber, head of social impact at Ripple, told Cointelegraph that Ripple focuses on reducing its carbon emissions by making sustainable choices, purchasing carbon offsets, and investing in carbon removal technologies. One of the first initiatives that Ripple has committed to is its partnership with Energy Web Foundation, a nonprofit organization using blockchain to accelerate, low carbon electricity systems. The Energy Web Foundation and Ripple have created Energy Web Zero, a new open source tool designed to enable any blockchain network to decarbonize by purchasing tokenized renewable energy. This is this can be done within the United States, the UK, and the Philippines. This will be done via tokenized energy attribute certificates. This all really seems to rhyme with the BIS and the green bond. And then I got wondering, well, what is the green bond and is it digital? And then I got looking at that. And it says, let's see, it is actually right here. The original goal of this report was to map the distributed ledger technology green bond market. However, that landscape has only unfolded to a very limited extent. And then I said, wow, you mean just like this? Just like the Liberty Bond, until they started breaking out the massive propaganda machine, churning out millions of posters, stickers, buttons, celebrities, knowing full well the Green Initiative is hugely aligned with the current administration, and knowing that the current administration has all three branches of government under control right now, it seems like this could really set the tone for us to see something very similar to this take place, but only this time being able to push and motivate everyone to get into the decarbonization and the green bond movement potentially. Now, does that have anything to do with XRP? I don't know. But we're talking about distributed ledger technology green bonds. And it's not my opinion. That's what they said. And I'm going to show it to you one more time because it says it right here, right? Distributed ledger technology DLT bonds. The report therefore takes broader perspective by including unlabeled DLT bonds and debt products, offer an analysis of current state of distributed ledger technology adoption in the bond market. See, you don't have a monetary backbone unless you have a bond market. And that's why I know at some point bonds and blockchain technology and distributed ledger technology are going to be extremely, extremely important. Let's keep an eye on that. Now, let's get back to this question here. Why is the price of XRP going up? I mean, over the years, we've had remarkable news, right? Incredible partnerships. Incredible things happening, mass adoption, implementation, partnerships of just enormous magnitude that are connected to tens of thousands of locations and even in some cases millions of locations. And the price wouldn't move. You slap down an SE lawsuit and we threaten to see a WSB and a XRP Telegram group pump price. And what do you know? We see the price go to 73 cents 4 hours before that pump movement was supposed to happen, which I did not condone and I did not take part of, obviously. And I hope you did, because that is not where XRP gets its value from. Now, looking at this, I have to say to myself, what happened in that moment? Like 3-4 hours before it was supposedly, quote unquote, pump, it pumped before that moment. Well, what that told me is a potential that I believe we saw large players buy up the market to 73 cents. And then when 8:30 came, what I believe happened is because the price stopped. I actually had a video that I played for everybody where the whole entire market on fiat links just stalled out to nothing. And basically the price from 8:30 on continued to just massively fall until it retraced back to 38 cents. That told me that there were some large players out here that said, oh, you want to play? You think you're going to move this market? We'll move the market to 73 cents. We'll entice the retail investor that thinks they can make that big of a difference. Take us over $1 if you dare. And the moment they probably intended to start buying at 8:30, when they did, I would imagine what it looked like and appeared to me was that the large people that drove it to 73 cents turned around and dumped it back in the market and put it back to 38. Well, I can't say that I'm right about that, but I can certainly say that it looks a lot like it. It looks a lot like that's what may have taken place. All of this is happening while U.S. retail investors are really being restricted to the greatest degree that they ever have been during the life of XRP in crypto. Which brings me to this, right? Which is the whole Q4 20 report. Thank you to Low Confidential. Appreciate you. I look at this report, and then, of course, they did tell us about the FOIA document request that they submitted, where they want to see what the SEC used to determine Ether was a non-security. And I think that was an excellent defense to put SEC on the defensive and have to defend its own actions and decisions. With the SEC enforcement action, the industry has gone from regulatory uncertainty to regulatory chaos at the expense of retail holders. What's interesting about that is, like what I just said, is that, yes, we were decimated by that initial hit. What's interesting, though, is that with all the bad news, we're actually sitting at 43, 45 cents a half hour ago, right? What's interesting, before that, we even pumped to 73 cents. What was it, Monday morning? Right. So, when I think of this, you start thinking, wow, the more bad news we get, the more we're seeing the price move. Then I start to wonder, and I start to ask myself, are we potentially seeing the exchanges be bought up in a slow fashion? Well, or not slow, but a paced fashion, I should say. Because I guess the real answer is if we return to 25 or 28 cents, you couldn't make that argument. You would have to concede, in my mind, no, they're not buying the exchanges up because it went back to 25 or 28 cents. But it hasn't. In fact, after it pumped up 30-some cents, and then it pumped to 73, and then it comes back to 38. We sat there, and then we're back up now 40, 45 cents, and we don't know where this thing takes a breath and goes back to. But what's interesting to me is I have to start asking the question, if we don't return back to that 25, 28 cent channel, I have to start asking the real fundamental question here. Are the exchanges really starting to be bought up, and that liquidity being soaked up by larger market makers and even some retail and that are able to still get a hold of it? Are they beginning to buy it up? Because, like I said, there are more restrictions on us U.S. retail investors than there ever have been in the life of the asset. Well, we can still get it on Uphold, yes, but there's restrictions there. I can only get so much a day. And with BitTrue, you have to trade into it. So now we're looking at, fees, right? And what's your fee going to be, right? And in Coinbase's instance, they stopped trading it to everyone. So you really have to at some point start asking yourself, is this the new price of XRP? Is 43 0.4378 is 0.4378, 43 cents, the new price of XRP. And looking at the range all the way down here, if you see it's been ranging between 42 and 47 cents, you really have to start asking yourself here, is this the new range? Is this the new range where we were dealing with 25 to 28 cents? Or is this our new range? Or is it 35 to 38 cents? Even if it goes back to 35, 38 cent range, I still have to ask myself, there's a 10-cent disparity there where we were before all of this started. How'd that happen? That's going to do it for me. Make sure you leave a comment below. I don't have the answer. I'm just asking. But I'm interested to see your answer. No doubt about it. Make sure you leave a comment below. Ladies and gentlemen, if you have not done it, listen, I know you got to be an accredited investor to be able to get SPVs on Link to, but you don't have to be an accredited investor to be a part of the community. Download the app, join, sign up, put your name in there, be a part of this community. It is an incredible team of people. They're really, really wonderful, and they have some excellent products right now. Ripple's out. Uphold is still up there. Kraken, which we know is absolutely crushing, is available. SoFi Upgrade and Marquetta are just some of the others, and you should check it out. I'm telling you, we've seen Coinbase that was on here before. Now they've gone to IPO. We know full well that there are other companies, like I know Marquetta has said that they intend to IPO within the next year. Think of that for a moment when you take a look at these things, and make sure you go check it out. All right, that's going to do it for me. Hit the like and subscribe, and I'll catch you on the next one.